And hello, welcome to Open, the show that's opening the Bronx and the rest of the world right to you. I am Daren, Jaime. Today we'll update you on what's happening in and around our borough as well as across New York City. Coming up, we'll talk to a life coach about creating secure space for ambitious women to explore their inner muse. Then we'll shift gears to discover the secrets of how one artist is balancing a music career, entrepreneurship, and the management of a restaurant. After that, we'll delve into a partnership that's aimed at educating students on video mitigation and the benefits of visual advocacy. Lastly, we'll explore how one coach's vision and journey led to the launch of the first affirmation-based footwear with customizable components. What does that mean? Well, you'll find out. Stay tuned because all this and much more is heading your way. Right now, we're officially open. Hello, everyone. I am Daren Jaime, and you're now watching Open, a live program bringing the Bronx and New York City straight to you. We also want to welcome our viewers to the Manhattan Neighborhood Network, as Open is being broadcast simultaneously on MNN's channels. You can stay connected to us on all of our social media platforms at BronxNet TV. Well, some things have been going on throughout the past week. We'll take you through some of them with our Bronx updates. We start with state news. As the new year rings in, several laws are now in effect in New York State, ushering in significant changes directly affecting workers as well as tenants. These regulations encompass enhanced pay rates and safeguards. NYCHA residents in particular will now see new provisions in their tenant rights. The Housing Authority is now required to promptly inform residents within 24 hours regarding their safety of their water for cooking or drinking in case of any issues. Notifications will be delivered in writing, as residents are also being encouraged to check their mail for updates. Residents in New York City and Westchester County, as well as Long Island, will soon be seeing a pay increase. The minimum wage in the city has now risen to $16 an hour. The adjustment, part of an ongoing series of changes as incremental increases are set to take place over the next few years. Employees who do not see an adjustment in their paychecks are strongly encouraged to file a wage complaint with the Department of Labor. Residents in the rest of New York State will remain at $15 an hour. In other news, New York has enacted new legislation tackling the escalating costs of prescription drugs and bolstering the safety of pharmaceutical administration. According to these laws, any hikes in drug prices must now be officially reported to the state via the Department of Financial Services. The legislation also includes an expansion in the availability of injectable medications specifically designed to address mental health and substance use disorders. In line with these changes, pharmacists are now obligated to maintain transparent communications with prescribing physicians, ensuring they're informed about the medications administered to their patients. In immigration news, New York City Mayor Eric Adams is implementing stricter guidelines for buses directed to New York City by Texas Governor Greg Abbott. Under the executive order, a 32-hour notice is mandated before the arrival of charter buses transporting migrants into the city. Buses are instructed to arrive between 8:30 a.m. and noon, Monday to Friday, and exclusively drop migrants off at a specified location at West 41st Street between 8th and 9th Avenue in Manhattan, as stated by City Hall. Now, the mayor and his administration have long warned about the escalating migrant influx into New York City, and failure to comply with these regulations could result in misdemeanor charges, legal actions, fines, and bus impoundment. In other news, many New Yorkers are still up in the air when it comes to selecting their health insurance. Our BronxNet reporter, Brittany Schuyler Albane, attended a local event that was aimed at getting more people enrolled.
In the Corona Queens section of New York City, the mayor's public engagement unit and New York City Department of Health and Mental Hygiene encourage New Yorkers to enroll in health insurance.
At PU, we understand that healthcare isn't just about having access to a doctor, it's about having access to resources to live a life of dignity.
According to a study conducted by city specialists, Corona currently sees the lowest rates of health insurance enrollment in the city. So Get Covered New York City is making it its mission to engage within the community.
We've recognized that an efficient and robust government doesn't wait for those in need to ask for help and to ask for assistance. It actively reaches out to make the process of working with the city.
One of the biggest misconceptions many believe is that their status may bar them from getting any form of health coverage, which Get Covered New York City wants the community to know that is not the case.
Everyone can be on some form of health insurance plan, regardless of your immigration status and your income level and any other demographic factors.
Get Covered New York City urges New Yorkers to sign up for health insurance before the 15th of any month so they can begin to receive coverage on the 1st of the following month. Reporting for BronxNet, Brittany Schuyler Albane.
And thank you, Brittany. That is all the time we have for our Bronx updates. We are taking a quick break, but we'll have more open when we return.
Hey everyone, it's your girl Kat from the Kitty Rose Lifestyle, also from The Next Chapter, where we discuss shades of gray every week right here at BronxNet, Saturdays at 11 p.m. Wow, 30 years. 30 years of BronxNet public access television. I'm a girl from Brooklyn and came to the Bronx 25 years ago, started my journey on BronxNet on public access television in 2016, and BronxNet is where I got my start. BronxNet, I feel like, is a home away from home. They support all of my endeavors, and I wouldn't have been able to be on any of the other channels if it wasn't for the fundamentals that I learned right here at my start here at BronxNet. So I am so appreciative. My son says I should stop telling people I'm from Brooklyn because I've been here now, Bronx Strong, for 22 years. So I'm so grateful, and I wish you much success in 30 years, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30, 30 more, because public access is necessary so that people like myself can have a voice. Yes, BronxNet, it's your girl Kat from Kitty Rose. Check me out every Saturday at 11 p.m. right here, Channel 68, The Next Chapter, where we discuss shades of gray. Mwah.
Now, she just needs to admit that she's from the Bronx. All right, well, we are in a world right now that is constantly bombarded by external influences, and it's refreshing to meet some individuals that are dedicated to helping us to rediscover like our inner self. And our next guest specializes in helping ambitious women cultivate fulfilling lives aligned with their authentic selves. And here now to share more, we've got life coach Misha Battiste. And Misha, good to have you.
Hi, it's good to meet you.
Good to meet you. And thanks for being with us. And as I did say, we do have a lot to look at. You got social media, you have all that stuff, and it can be depressing. Sometimes it can really take you down but to really deal with self is what you're focusing on. And how should we really be focusing on self amidst all these external influences?
Oh my God, yes. We spend so much time on social media. We're bombarded with so many different opinions and comments on how we should all be living our lives. So the first step, I say, is just journal. Talk to yourself. Go inward. See what you think about a certain topic. what you believe your life should look like. And, you know, I own this brand called Become Your Own Muse, and it's really about becoming your own source of inspiration. So again, looking inward to see what inspires you. What do you love? What are your hobbies? Do you, essentially.
And when you talk about doing you, I mean, obviously, a lot of people do say, I want to do me, but it becomes hard. I mean, you got life, and life starts lifing, right? And then now you're in a place where you're trying to figure it out. So part of that is really doing that internal work. So when we talk about doing the internal work, what are some of the common mistakes that we're making to prevent us from doing that internal work?
I think it's again, it's the influence of other people. I have a lot of clients who are talking to their friends, and it's nothing wrong with talking to outside sources to kind of figure out what you should do. But at the end of the day, trust your gut, trust your intuition. We're often in our head a lot as well. So what I do with my clients is have them slow down and connect to their belly, connect to their heart. What does your heart say? What is your initial gut reaction? And we go from there. I believe that our body has so much intelligence that we haven't even scratched the surface of it yet. So it's about going into your body, breathing into your body, and seeing what it's telling you, what it wants to do.
We talk about self-exploration, and that's really huge, right? I think as you're talking about a new year, we're here in the face of a new year, and a lot of people want new. How do I
Yeah.
go about that self-exploration?
How do you go about that self exploration? It's just trying new things, right? I think there's a lot of things that probably swirl in our heads of like, oh, I would love to try that. And like for me, I've been wanting to do horseback riding. So this past fall, I started training with horseback riding and just seeing if I like it. Like, I think that's the other thing is just experimenting, right? Um, Trying it out. If you don't love it, give it up and try something new. I think we often say like, oh, I'm going to do this thing. And so since I said I'm doing it, I just got to keep pushing for it. Be okay with letting things go and seeing what next is out there. When you release things, you're able to like welcome in newness. So experiment is really the key word here.
Are we seeing any trends amongst the clients that you're seeing when it comes to being a life coach? I mean, are we seeing some things that are flowing multiply between people?
I think it's this idea of limiting beliefs, right? Like, oh, I'm not smart enough, or I haven't done this yet, or I have a couple of clients who want to be writers, and they're like, well, I'm not a good writer yet, and so it's important. There's this idea called growth mindset. So allowing yourself to be a beginner, and then letting yourself become better as you go, right? Like just trying it and keep trying until you get better, allowing yourself that space to grow in that way. So it's those limiting beliefs. I try to get my clients to transcend those limiting beliefs, and so they can just really kind of open up this runway of trying out things, seeing what it works, and believing that you can get better at each thing you try out.
Talk to me a little bit about transition, because I think that's a big challenge for a lot of people. They need some coaching through transition. You yourself have been able to make a transition. You went from a political strategist down to a life coach. First of all,
Yeah.
explain a little bit about your transition and then what people need to know in order to make that pivot.
Yeah, I had a decade's career in national politics, working for a couple of presidential campaigns, Senate races, and by 2020, with working in campaigns, I was like moving every 6 months and just barely was able to like maintain an apartment because I had to move somewhere else all the time. So by 2020, I was burnt out. I also lost all of my ambition in that career. I had nothing else I wanted to do. I'm so proud of the career, but I had nothing else to do. So I was in therapy and I'm like, I'm so depressed. I don't know what to do. And my therapist asked me this simple question is, what is something you do every day and you just do it naturally? And it's encouraging my friends. It's even like meeting strangers and asking like, what do you want to do? And then I'm just like encouraging them like, why don't you try this? And why don't you try that? So we landed on life coaching, and I had some limiting beliefs around life coaching. I thought like, what if people think I'm like scammy, or, I just didn't want to be judged for being a life coach. But I had therapy. I saw my own coaches. I tried hypnotherapy to just really get myself to a place where I'm comfortable with this transition. And then I just started talking to people about it. I just made it, I kind of like, I'm becoming a life coach. Before I even like started my certification program, I'm just like, I'm becoming a life coach, and I'm just speaking it into existence. And so I always believe that like you tell people what you want to do and they kind of help you make it happen, honestly. It's just how the universe works.
You know, you talked a little bit about hitting the ceiling, and I think that's a problem for so many people. They hit the ceiling and feel as though there's nowhere to go, nothing to do. Talk to somebody about what they should do if they feel like they hit the ceiling. Why go through another year of doing it this kind of way when you know you're already at the ceiling?
Let me tell you, God will kick you out of whatever career he's not letting, like, you're refusing to leave. Because at the top of 2020, I was like, I'm done with campaigns. I need a break. And then I joined like 2 other campaigns after that. And then I got like another political job. And it just, my body was so frustrated with me sticking in this career. And so God was just kind of pushing me out, you know? So when those things happen, you really got to take a moment to sit and just be like, you're done here. What is next? And again, your body and your mind will tell you what is next. You just got to have the courage and the faith in yourself and the faith in God to push forward and make it happen. And maybe the support of a life coach too to help you with that transition, because it's all about the mindset.
And I think mindset is critical, right? Because when you talk about making any transition, it first starts with, the heart and then the mind. The mind has to say, listen, I'm ready to do that. But there's so many things that seem to clutter the mind. Is there anything that we could be doing to kind of like free it up so that way we can make the right decisions?
Yeah, I always tell my clients to be on your side, right? Like, be on your side, because those things that cloud your mind, again, is usually other people, right? Outside voices, worrying about judgment. I often hear my clients feel like, well, if I change, is that really authentic of me? Like, will people think that I'm not being authentic because I'm making this change? And it's like, it's all about you. You have to be on your side. So it's pushing yourself, believing in yourself, encouraging yourself, being your own cheerleader. I call it self coaching in a way. So, I work with my clients for 6 months, but as we're nearing our end, I kind of train them to self coach themselves to, you know, any type of blocks coming in their way in the future, they can get that mindset straight again and move forward.
What advice do you give to somebody about having a life coach and embracing a life coach in their journey? Because a lot of people feel like they can do it by themselves, but the truth is, no, you need some help.
Well, the first thing I will say is invest in yourself. I think so many women and men aren't ready to make that investment in a life coach. They're like, oh, I've never done it before. I don't know. Just invest in yourself. When you hire a life coach, you are investing in yourself and you deserve that investment. Secondly, the thing that my clients say the most in the beginning of working with me is that, like, it's just nice to have someone to process these thoughts and feelings with, right? Like, we can talk to our friends, we can talk to our moms, but they don't have the skills to really help you get to the end goal or conclusion, right? They're just like, oh, okay, well, good luck. But I'm here to really stand in the gap for you, to really work with you to get your mind and help you make these healthy decisions and help you reach your goals and be that accountability partner. So that's what you're buying into. You are buying into someone who's invested in your success just as much as you are.
You know, we talked a little bit about you being a political strategist before you came on, and I want to ask you about that because in the political world, a lot goes on, and it can be kind of weighty, right? Are you finding more and more people in the political world, given the fact of how heightened politics are and how divisive it's been, are really trying to make that transition because they recognize and realize, like, it's a lot of stress here.
Yeah, and I think so. When I got into politics, I really wanted to be a public servant and work with candidates who I believed can help change this country, help other people's lives. But the truth of the matter is, once this person gets elected in office, the people who worked on that campaign have no control over what the outcome is. And so I think that's the thing that gets, really heady. Like, we believe it, we are fighting for it, and then when they get in office, it's out of our hands. We have no more control. So I think that especially after like the last decade we've had, it just is stressful to support candidates and work with candidates and just not knowing how things will end up in the end.
Yeah. Misha, been great talking to you. And certainly, as people are looking for a life coach, we're going to give the people the information so they can reach out to you. But thank you for spending time with us.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure.
All
Take
righty.
care.
Take care. Now, listen, if you want more information, please visit her website at MishaBattiste.com and then follow her on Instagram at Misha A. Battiste. We encourage you Don't go anywhere. We got more open coming up right after this.
Without BronxNet, I don't know how we'd be able to showcase the important and amazing talents that we have here at the Bronx. We've been able to feature lots of great artists, performers, people who deal with coffee and small entrepreneurship businesses, discuss controversial topics, and also be able to share the voice of residents that might not normally have access without a place like BronxNet.
Congratulations to BronxNet on its 30th anniversary. And I'm blessed that I was here shortly after the beginning of BronxNet. At that time, I took the field and studio classes, and I spent a lot of time helping other people have shows before I put my toe in the water and decided to have a show for myself. For those of you who are familiar with the Blackwash Televised Art Gallery, that was my first show on my own. And now I am pumping up La Finca del Sur, doing Eating Healthy with La Finca del Sur on BronxNet's Channel 70. And I appreciate everyone watching.
And we are back from growing up in the Bronx to becoming the owner of SMG Publishing Company. Our next guest embodies the essence of a self-made success story. He meticulously ironed out obstacles in the business world through extensive reading and study, carving out a path, leading him to be a boss, and now turning his visions into reality. And joining us now is the owner of Seafood Kings and artist, Derell, and we thank you so much for being with us, man.
Thank you for having me. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year to you.
All right.
Congratulations to you.
Thank you. It's been a journey.
Yeah.
It's been a journey.
Well, when you talk about it, being an owner right now, and to be an owner in a place like City Island, where a lot of people really envision trying to be there. I mean, how long has it been for you, that vision of saying, I want to be there as an owner, and then, of course, City Island?
Okay, so it started with my father, Derell. That was his vision from a kid to be an owner in a predominantly white area with restaurants and stuff like that. And he took the leap of faith in 2019 when we had our restaurant in Queens. And, COVID, it was a bad thing, but it was a blessing for him because that gave him the opportunity to finally see his dream come true, his dream restaurant, his dream location. And he made it happen. It took us about 2 years to open up. We opened up February 2022. And, we enjoying the journey ever since.
Talk to me a little bit about this because you're balancing two things here. You got music,
yes,
and then also you have the restaurant and that part of entrepreneurship as well. How are you making the balance?
Well, the balance is very hard, but, I'm making it do what it do because, of course, of my faith. Because of the mentality that I have. Music is my number one passion. I grew up in the church. I'm a minister of music in a couple of churches in New York. I also got the hip hop side from my father back in the day. He used to tour with Big Daddy Kane. He was a big producer in the 90s. So it's kind of like embedded into me, you know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to balance it a little bit more, but again, the show don't stop. When you got to do what you got to do, you got to do what you got to do. Talk
to me a little bit about the music career, publishing, and the work that you're doing right now. Talk about it.
So I have a label called SMG, Lily. It's Smooth Music Group. That's something that I made up when I was like 10 years old. That was my nickname when I was younger from some of my uncles and cousins. And the label, I'm the artist, producer, the CEO. I also have a couple of gospel acts on there, R&B acts, a couple of rappers coming up. And, we do that retro music, that feel-good music from the 70s, 80s, 90s. I like to incorporate that and my producing, to make everybody from 10 years old to 70 years old feel good.
And so here you got this music going on, you're really hitting it here, and then you're saying, listen, I want to branch out a little bit further.
That's right.
When did you say, in the midst of all of that, I'm going to take this even further?
I'm going to say about 2018. I started a clothing line and I started writing drama series and movies. I also have a movie that I'm about to shoot in March of 2024. It's called 90s Love. It's a romantic comedy. And when it came to the restaurant, I was forced into that. My father came one day and said, hey, I need help with the restaurant. This is a family business. This is something that you and your brothers, your sisters, your children down the line is going to take over when I'm not here, and I need help. And I said, for sure. He's been there all 34 years of my life, going to be 35 years of my life, so why not it?
So here he is, and he's decided, I'm going to put you out here at City Island.
That's right.
And now you're all engaged. You're all in there, too.
That's right.
What's it like being there supporting Dad and just now, not even just support Dad, but really having a family business? And, you know, on City Island, that's major.
Yeah, so City Island, I'm going to say it's a little different than the other restaurants we have. I'm going to say this is probably the first big major project that we had. We had a couple of investors that really came in to help us to get it going and started. The operation is definitely family oriented. My uncle Max, my little brother Chef Dow, my sister Brittany Lee. So it's very family oriented. Of course, you know, we're going to bump heads once in a while because we're family, but we all come together when it's time to and get things done. We have great customers. We have great service. This is going to be our second year going into February 2024. And I'm looking for us to expand outside of New York City and just get the people in there. We want to bring a couple of different things in there, comedy nights, karaoke nights, you know, happy hour. We want to cater to the city workers. We want to cater to the music artists, politicians. Hey, if you're having a meeting, come have it here. It doesn't matter what day of the week, what time of the week, we're here to accommodate you.
Amazing. So for you, you've got the spirit of entrepreneurship already, right? Working. But as I was talking with our last guest, making that transition sometimes is not easy.
It's not easy.
Right? And here you are saying, not only am I doing it, but I'm doing a couple of things in it. Give some advice about becoming an entrepreneur. What does that mean to you being, quote unquote, your own boss?
So I'm going to say this. The biggest advice I could get is if you're not ready to be an entrepreneur, don't do it. You're going to have some sleepless nights. You're going to not go to sleep for 2 or 3 days to work on a project. It's going to be some days where you don't get paid. You know what I'm saying? You can't call out because if you don't put the work in, you don't get paid. You don't see your vision come, and you got to take every day one day at a time. You know what I'm saying? And get you a team too, because we can't do everything by ourselves. That's something that I'm learning the last 2 or 3 years. I got me a team. I got my best friend, Raven Robinson, who helps me out with everything that I do. My friend Owen, who does photography, filming. It's just a collective. So get you a team. Understand you're going to have sleepless nights. You might not get a check, but if you really want to do this, the fruits of your labor will come to fruition.
Speak to me a little bit about that, because I think so many people get it twisted when we talk about the check, right? Because we're all in it to make money.
Yeah.
But the reality is, in order to make money, sometimes you have to go with no check.
That's right. And you got to put the work in. You know, it's easy to say, hey, you know, I'm going to do a 9 to 5. I'm going to work for 30 years, but you're going to be miserable versus saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to put 5 to 7 years into something that I like. I envision something that God gave me, put in my spirit to do what I have to do. And guess what? You're your own boss now. You make your own check in a few years. You make your own schedule. You can get up when you want to get up. You can help employ people to help feed their families. That's the number one goal that me and my pops and my family have. It's not just about us, the Lee family, but it's about helping others to get to where they need to, believe in what they're doing.
Sound view is important to you.
Very important.
Very special to you.
Very important. Shout out to the 10473. Very important.
What does sound view mean to you?
Soundview is, you know, you get a lot of negative comments or energy, but Soundview's been good to me. You know what I'm saying? I had a lot of people that I grew up with. We all doing music. We all entrepreneurs, and we made the best of our situation. I come from a great village in Soundview. I grew up between Rosedale and Bruckner and Shore Haven. My friends, my family, my aunts, my grandmother, we all grew up over there. So it's beautiful to me, you know what I'm saying? I take the teachings that I got from 12 years old to now and apply to say, you know what, I want to do better for my children in the future, but Soundview is always going to be home.
What does it feel like being able to give your contribution, bring your contribution back to a place like Soundview?
It feels good. I feel like a boss. I feel like I'm doing my just duties. Even now, I see some kids sometimes, they're like, hey, this is King Lee, you at your restaurant and you doing music, you know. That's something I grew up on when I would see Peter Guns or Big Pun, you know, when I was young in Soundview. Hey, here's a couple of dollars, or I'm gonna take out ice creams, or all of y'all come with me to Jimmy's Grand Cafe. So to give back to my community, because somebody did it to me 10, 20 years ago, it feels excellent.
So I always ask people what's next, and for you, what's next?
2024 for me is just my, I'm going to say it's my branch out year. I'm focusing more and completing tasks, being more consistent with completing everything. So you can expect Seafood Kings to be one of the top restaurants in New York City, King Lee and SMG, the music group, to be on top of the music game. And thirdly, my filming. I'm very passionate about my filming. Money to Burn series, the 90s Love movie I told you that's coming out. Shout out to my Uncle Talent, Harris, who's a comedian from the 90s and big time. We're doing that together, and it's the year of the Lilies. That's all I can say.
So do you look at the calendar and say, by this time, I want to do this, or you just take it as it comes?
So definitely, and it's funny that you asked me that question. This year I did say I'm going to take things quarterly. So the first 3 months, this is what I want to do. You know what I'm saying? Then the second 3 months, these are my goals. You know what I'm saying? So I have to take it because I have so much going on. It goes back to what I told you, that balance. So I take it, you know, little by little, but also make sure I complete it and make an impact while doing so.
For people who want to get in touch as far as the music, and maybe they're saying, listen, you know, I need somebody to check me out. What do they do?
King Lily is my Instagram, KING_LELIE. Also the website, wearesmg.com. And they can always come see me at Seafood King, City Island, 634 City Island Avenue, Bronx, New York.
What days y'all open?
We open Tuesday through Sunday. Monday is our rest day. That's our Sabbath.
See? Very important to let people know that.
Yes, sir.
All right, good to have you.
All right, thank you for having me.
All right, listen, I want to let you know that if you want more information, visit their website, and then you can follow them on Instagram at king_Lily. Don't go anywhere. We got more show, more open coming up right after this.
Hello, my name is Tyrone Lowe. I host a show at BronxNet called The Legends, where I bring real legends, DJs, upcoming artists, actually people from the past that's into entertainment. I want to thank BronxNet. First of all, I want to thank for the 30 years of them actually being active here. It has opened a lot of doors for me to the point where I'm branching off to have my own network. Fulfill your dreams here. That's all I have to say.
Happy anniversary to BronxNet, 30 years. Wow, brings back so many memories. This exact studio that I'm in right now, I broadcast out of here. This must have been around 2003. I mean, time flies by so quickly. I started out here, it was either Mr. Gary Axelbank and Mr. Batch. With Lady Morsar, we used to do a show here called In the Neighborhood. And I brought so many different guests on this show. To be able to bring your voice to the community is very powerful. To bring hip hop and spirituality, I brought my pastor in this same studio, Pastor Gino Jennings, and I'm sure you guys know who Pastor Gino Jennings is. That's rough. And some disciplined teaching. BronxNet is something that we need to uplift our communities, because this is a platform that we can come, and if you have a vision that's in your mind going into your heart, you can use it to do uplifting things for your community.
And we are back. The Legal Aid Society is breaking new ground using video narratives to humanize their clients, shedding light on their character, their aspirations, as well as their struggles. Joining me now is the senior staff attorney at the Legal Aid Society, Nicole Mull, and then also filmmaker and producer of Courthouse Documentaries, David Simpson. And Nicole, David, thank you so much for being with us.
Good morning.
Thanks,
Good
Daren.
morning.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
And I'll start with Nicole, because I think that this is really new in some ways to be able to have video as, you know, evidence, if you will, of a person's life and the difference that it makes. Give me a little bit of behind this here.
Well, for the past couple of decades, the only way we used to advocate for our clients with respect to their lives and to show them as full human beings was in writing. And social workers and lawyers worked very hard on pre-pleading investigation reports and sentencing reports. But now there's this new method of showing as opposed to telling. The written work is very important, but in certain cases, video works just as well, if not better. And so I started to see in federal court um, videos being used for these kinds of this kind of advocacy to show the judge, to show the DA what brought our clients into the situations that they face and who they are. And I began to think, why can't we do this in state court? Why can't we bring this to a public defender's office? And that's what we did. David and I started about 5 years ago, and we've come a long way. We've partnered with Fordham Law School, the criminal defense clinic there. We've partnered with other folks like Bard and Drexel University to create these videos for our clients.
Yeah, David, talk to me a little bit about these videos. As you are a filmmaker and the producer, what are you looking to capture to bring back to that courthouse?
So we focus on the clients themselves, their families, members of the community. So oftentimes it's their former bosses or pastors or other community members that can speak on behalf of their character. We also, we're in the neighborhoods, we're in their homes, and we want to capture the environment that many of our clients grew up in and lived and worked and conduct their business. And we want to capture what it's like for them to move and be in the community.
Yeah. Nicole, how do you answer a critic who may say, look, this is a way to do something very scripted, and, we know what people can say with regards to that. How do you answer that when you say, hey, this presentation really could mean something here?
Well, anything that is written is scripted, right? So when we turn over the reams of paper that include medical records, that include school certificates, that include drug treatment program records, all of that is scripted. So it's not a matter of whether it's scripted or not. It's a matter of whether you gain from watching our clients, from listening to their families, from seeing with your own eyes how people speak and how they relate, and how they tell you about folks. You make that decision. You make that decision as the viewer as to whether you believe them or not. And that's why we are very, very insistent that this works very well, because people want to see, people want to hear from, and our clients want to tell their story, and not necessarily at trial. This may be part of a negotiation.
Right. And David, I want to say too, it also lets somebody have an opportunity to make it into a courtroom via video that may not necessarily make it to the courtroom on the day of either sentencing or the day that they're required to actually give their statement.
Absolutely. We have both traveled to locations out of state, as well as had folks Zoom in from other parts of the country, other countries, and this gives an opportunity to give a nuanced description, nuanced history of a client directly from an individual that has interacted with them as a family member, as a friend, and can really give that detailed, critical history about that person.
Yeah. Nicole, what are we seeing by way of results here? Because when we talk about sentencing outcomes, how has this project actually been able to impact sentencing outcomes?
I think it has impacted sentencing outcomes for the better. Now, keep in mind, most of these are part of a negotiation. So we have an idea of what a case or a client is facing, and what the negotiated outcome that we believe is fair. And that's what we are asking for. And in a lot of cases, we have had very good success, because our audience realizes where our clients came from, who they are, and it's not just something written on a piece of paper that they may not believe.
Right. For our viewers, please educate us just a little bit more when you say negotiation. How does that process work? And then talk about how the video correlates.
Well, Oftentimes, a client is charged with a crime that they didn't commit. Sometimes the client is willing to negotiate because there's kind of a middle of the road where perhaps there's a way to resolve a case in a way that suits both sides. When there's a way to resolve a case that suits both sides, then that's a successful negotiated outcome. And the videos play a role in that we want to show the district attorney, show the judge who the client is and why they deserve this outcome.
David, so for you, obviously the opportunity to see firsthand from behind the lens and to help somebody in the possibility of having a reduced sentence outcome. What's this experience been like for you? Because I know in addition to the work that you're doing, there's also this partnership that you're now forming with law students across the state.
Absolutely. Honestly, it's been really dramatically life-changing for me to be able to witness firsthand lives of folks who are directly impacted by mass incarceration. Like, I knew very little about the criminal legal system prior to this, and the empathy that is required and the witnessing the impact of loss in our communities, predominantly Black and Brown folks, it has really motivated me to build a coalition of individuals who would want to apply their skills to doing this work, and that's the thing that has now motivated me. In the last 6 years, we've completed about 35 videos, and we've interviewed over 250 individuals. And it's incredible to see the change in the lives and the gratitude that families have for the work that we do, and to be able to take that the process that we've developed and bring that to students who are entering the legal field, so that they can take these techniques and processes and apply it to their work is super valuable and very, very rewarding.
Yeah. So, Nicole, where does the work go from here?
Well, the only reason we have only done 30 is because we have very, very little funding. So that's our next step, or our continued step, is to increase funding for this amazing project.
Yeah. And what kind of response have you gotten since you've been, putting this out here as both, a project that is really seeing a whole lot of people's lives transformed, and at the same time also becoming an educational tool?
I'm sorry, you cut out. Can you repeat that question?
Absolutely. I said, so what's it been like for you? Because obviously there's the process of this being an educational tool, and then also having the successes and successful outcomes. What's it been like in the conversation space that you've been having with people about funding?
Well, it's everybody's very supportive, but of course, as you know, funding is hard to get because there's a lot of very worthwhile projects out there, and we encourage anybody who wants to volunteer or who wants to contribute financially to reach out.
Yeah. Well, I definitely want people to know a little bit more about this, and I'm gonna give them more information a little bit later on. I want to ask David, for yourself as a filmmaker and a producer, how long does it take you to get this video out on one particular client?
So we generally work on these videos within the semester. So our partnership with Fordham is their criminal defense clinic, and so we create the videos throughout the semester, and by the semester end, sometimes it takes a few weeks longer, we're done. So around 4 months, 4.5 months.
That's awesome.
And again, that could take a lot less time if we had funding.
Yeah. And I mean, and with less time, I mean, obviously more people have the opportunity to be represented, and that's a great thing. For yourself, Nicole, I just want to ask you, What has this project meant for you, seeing that you are, an attorney working here and seeing lives being transformed through this?
It's huge. It's absolutely huge. I've been doing this for a very long time, and it's brought me a lot of satisfaction to see how many lives we can change and hope for the future.
Yeah. I was reading a statistic about how the United States has more than 2 million people incarcerated. And of course, we know with mass incarceration, most of those people behind bars are black and brown. When we talk about this also does something in terms of putting a little bit of a crack, would you admit, in this mass incarceration problem we're having.
It does, but it's a huge problem.
Yeah, a huge one. All right, Nicole, David, we got to leave it there, but very, very insightful information. Congratulations on what you've been able to do, and certainly I think people will be taking a look and seeing how they can support and possibly be able to change their life. Thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you.
All righty.
Thank you.
All right, well, we want to let you know if you want more information, visit the websites at courthouse.documentaries.com and legalaidnyc.org. Don't go anywhere. More Open is coming up right after this.
I remember when the Bronx did not really have a media outlet properly representing the people of the Bronx.
BronxNet provides for the community by being a community where people can be empowered to share their voices.
We are in a really great place technologically. We've got all the resources that we need to be effective.
Whether it's through cameras, storytelling, editing, we have provided those services for 30 years.
BronxNet's mission is to be a voice for the community.
To educate, to inform, and to inspire.
And you can be a part of it. We've built studios for you.
Well, we've been talking about entrepreneurs pretty much all show long. Our last guest has not only transformed their vision into reality, but also has redefined the game both on and off the softball field. From building a softball empire to pioneering a unique approach to footwear, her journey, a testament to resilience, innovation, and the power of a determined mindset. Here now is the founder of Limitless Slides and the owner of Challenge U Softball, Lisa Rizzo. And Lisa, glad to have you.
I am so glad to be here, and I'm just so grateful for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, and glad to have you too. And as we talk about you, you're an entrepreneur. We talk about slides, we talk about softball. So let's just get right at it. I mean, for yourself, obviously, softball was a passion, baseball really, a passion for you growing up.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, my life story, I would say, led me to where I am today, but it did start with baseball being my outlet. I grew up with a single mother, a brother and a sister. My father passed when I was 4, and my mom started cleaning houses to raise us. But I always found that baseball and sports just kind of became my therapy. And at the same time, I saw what a hard worker my mother was, and that she set her mind to what she wanted to do and had to do for her kids. So I had that little combo of hard work, determination, setting a vision, and sports from a very young age. Yeah.
So you take that and you take that passion and you move it forward. And so we've got softball and then we've got slides. Let's talk a little bit about
Right.
the softball first. I know, right? It's like it's a couple things going on here, but talk to me a little bit about the softball and how we get to challenge you softball.
Yeah, so the softball is really what I would say gave birth to the slides. I played softball in high school and then I was recruited to play college softball. I played college softball, but once the game ended, just like a lot of athletes out there, I did not want the game to end. But I still had to get a real job. I had to pay my bills. So I worked a million jobs, but I started giving softball lessons. My name spread because I was training the mental game and just like using things that I learned from my mom and myself growing up, and honestly, my brother and sister. And my name got pretty well known in the area. So I took a jump. I opened a little basement facility under a furniture store when I was 27 in 2011, the only softball only facility where all the coaches are women and former players. And that really expanded over the years because we were training the mental game, we were training the mindset. And fast forward to today, we train like 500 lessons a month at our location, which is called Challenge You Softball. And the idea of the slides came from a combo of my ways of mental training, my approach to life, and not letting anything stop me. And then also seeing what was missing in the footwear space. So that's really the culmination of how my new baby Limitless Slides was born.
So you got slides out there that people can actually
Yeah.
go ahead and purchase, but let's talk a little bit about getting to the slide game, if you will, because
Yeah.
it's kind of funny. Slides, softball, baseball. I like that though, but
Thank you.
it all works, right? But talk to me about how did you really land at the place saying, all right, I want to do slides and I want to, pursue this a little bit further.
Honestly, I'm a big believer in just receiving ideas at the right time as long as I'm open to it. And it was meant to be. So it was 2021. My facility was going good. Like everything was going really, really smooth. And I was at a camp and I looked around at what hundreds of athletes were wearing. And there was no footwear out there that was training the mindset. So I thought to myself, man, if I could just kind of create some affirmation based footwear where athletes could train their mind before anything, and then actually just people use that in life because we all need that. I think I'm onto something here. And it felt really good, even though I have no experience in footwear, no experience in products and manufacturing and marketing a product, but it felt so good. So I started what are now the Limitless slides. I could tell you a little bit about the slides. You see,
I'm getting ready to tell you. Tell me about it. I mean, it looks great.
all right. So basically, to me, I'm a big believer in affirmations and reminding yourself, like, being your own hype man, letting yourself know you got this. So on our Limitless slides, there's affirmations on the footbed so that you're feeling these really powerful words. Because sometimes we say affirmations and we don't feel them. So I wanted to put it on our athlete and honestly everybody's skin. And our most unique feature is our patented design of being able to insert different affirmations in the top of this slide. So this slide here is the I am version. And then this slide here, let's just say I want to feel limitless today, or grateful we have, or confident. I pop in my slide. Nothing like doing a demo right here on TV, but look how flawless it goes. And then we have limitless. So these are affirmation, interchangeable, patented slides that we just launched about 8 to 10 weeks ago. My new baby.
And what's it been like for you over the last 8 to 10 weeks? I mean, as you introduce these slides out there, what's the response been?
The response has been very, very amazing. Honestly, I could get emotional thinking about it because at first these were for athletes, but I'm seeing that everybody just really wants to feel good and everybody needs to be their own hype man. And everybody wants to set visions for themselves and be able to create their own life, no matter what their environment is. So we're selling these really, there's no demographic. It's to everyone now. And it's I knew I did something right because we've been doing really well with everyone from 7-year-olds to 70-year-olds. So yeah, I knew I did something right. It feels really good.
And I'm saying you can change the affirmations on every slide, so I can have a new affirmation every day if I want to.
Yeah, so the first pair come with in a baggie like this, and we call this essentials pack because the slides come with 4 inserts that I have used over my life to help me feel on point, grateful, just to be thankful for the things we have, remind ourselves to be appreciative, confident to know I got this. I popped this one in right before I had this call today for myself. Limitless, to know that sky is the limit. You know, one of my favorite songs, Sky's the Limit. And then I am, 2 of the most powerful words that I think can be spoken, thought, or felt, because growing up, I put some negative words after I am, but I'm trying to shift that for people.
Yeah, well, I want to ask you the question. What was the turning point for you in saying, listen, I can go ahead and do this? Because we talked about this a few seconds ago. Somebody has no experience in product, right? No experience in slide, but you know that you want to do this. What was the turning point for you to say, okay, I'm going to go ahead and do this?
Honestly, I've always had kind of like that I can do it attitude because of my surroundings growing up. Like nothing can stop me. The biggest thing is knowing that it has to feel right. So to any, entrepreneurs out there, anybody that just wants to do something for themselves, if you feel any type of resistance or like you're going against the grain, just don't do it, because this should feel good as you're building something. And I felt good from when I got the idea back in September of 2021. And I always think to myself, like, what makes me different than the founder of Spanx or Crocs or anything? And I just want people to feel like they could do anything as well, because nothing really makes us different at the end of the day.
What's your goal for 2024?
To take over the world.
Yeah, listen.
My goal is just to start a movement where, people care about how they feel. They take pride in, showing themselves and others that they are putting in the work to love themselves. At the end of the day, it's about how we feel about ourselves. That determines a lot of our future and our present. And I just want this to spread and create a movement that it's important to focus on feeling good, because we all deserve it.
See, I was about to affirm you're taking over the world, because you talk about being limitless. I was about to affirm it. So just take over the world in 2024.
Take over the world. Absolutely. Yeah. That's my vision, honestly.
I want to thank you so much for joining us and being with us. And certainly we're going to hear more from you in the time to come. But thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you. I'm so grateful. Thank you so much.
All righty. Want to let you know Lisa Rizzo, our guest here. And if you want more information, visit the website, limitlessslides.com. Follow them on social media at Limitless Slides. Want to let you know we come to the end of our show today. Want to thank all our guests for joining us, and most of all, you, the viewer, for tuning in. Now, if you missed any part of today's show, you can catch the Recablecast on Optimum's Channel 67, Verizon Files Channel 2133, or watch us anytime on the web at bronxnet.org. Of course, you can catch a brand new episode of Open with my girl Rita Valentine on Friday, Miss Cafe con Leche. Well, I want to let you know this wraps up this episode. I am Daren Jaime, saying make sure you keep this channel wide open. Take care. God bless.